What's up, everybody? Welcome to Campus Cuts. Today we got a special interview. Got a great, amazing guest who is literally transforming and changing the world. If you know him on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, his viral docuseries "Are You Happy?" Has touched millions of people, literally. In just the way that he's impact of him changing the narrative and trying to show people the more human side of this world. It's my great pleasure and great honor to be able to introduce you guys. Atdhe, Trepca, welcome to the show.
What's up, man? Thank you so much for inviting me. By the way,
Yeah,
the
man.
person who just came in, well, as you know, I travel around the world and ask everyone I meet if they're happy.
Yeah.
Right now, I am currently traveling around the world. Somebody DM'd me on Instagram, invited me to their state, and I was like, okay. So now I'm in their bedroom doing this interview with you. So I'm in a stranger's house, and he just came in and got his stuff. So now living the dream.
Yo, dude. Wait, okay, what state are you in right now?
Utah.
Utah. You are in Utah, and you're still doing the documentary.
Yes. Oh, 100%. 100%.
Man, we're gonna dive into that, but before then, dude, of course, again, nothing but express an expression of great gratitude for you taking the time out of your very busy schedule and you just doing this, man. I'm really grateful to have you on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Man, of course, absolutely. So, I mean, of course, I gave you that introduction, and also, mind you guys, he is an actor, director, and a writer, um, along with all the things that he does. But I want you to introduce yourself to the people. What is your name? If you went to college, I don't know, and then after that, your current occupation and where you're from.
Yeah, so my name is Atdhe. Basically, I'm a filmmaker from the United States in Connecticut. Well, I travel a lot, so Connecticut isn't necessarily my home, but I've been making films my entire life.
Yeah,
Ever since I could pick up a camera, I've just been making video projects and movies, and all in an attempt to make a career out of the medium of film, whether it be through acting or directing or editing. And as I grew older, I just worked more and more and more, and I learned more and more and more, read books, listened to interviews. And then when college time came around, I was doing some acting, and I didn't want to major in theater, so I decided to major in film. I basically
yeah,
did my theater degree throughout high school. I was pretty obsessed with the art of acting and the history of acting, and inside the actor studio, like I just
yeah,
I blew through seasons of those. So by the time college came around, I really wanted to learn more about the behind the scenes. So I majored in film, worked my butt off, double majored actually in journalism and film, and I just loved being in school. So I was taking winter classes and summer classes and extra credits during the semester. I just loved soaking everything up, loved learning, and I was able, between all that, to finish a double degree in 3 years. So in my fourth year, instead of continuing to go to school, I turned my internship into a job, which
yeah.
was in Nickelodeon. In New York.
Really?
Yeah. So I was writing and producing promos for them. Like, you're watching Nickelodeon. This week is a marathon of Drake and Josh. And then, putting in bites of Drake and Josh or whatever. Or it's like, it's Halloween. It's the Halloween marathon, something like that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I did that for a couple of years before deciding to move out to Los Angeles, where I had to kind of start at the beginning. I was a production assistant on a bunch of shoots, cleaning up dog poop and getting coffee for people, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
And slowly worked my way up that ladder where I, got to the point where I was assistant directing and, kind of running shoots. And I ended up working for a production company in Venice, Los Angeles, which was a production company of Robert Downey Jr. And I was just answering phones there, and I didn't really have time to do set work anymore.
yeah,
And I wasn't really in love with the job at RDJ's production studio. So, I was ready for my next move, and I got approached by Warner Brothers Studio to get to work there. And it was a simple data entry job,
Yeah.
but I was excited by the idea of working at a studio. It was a studio of which films I loved, and I interviewed, and I loved the people there. And I basically just started right at the bottom of their marketing department. And I loved the people there. I loved where I was, even though it was like, my office was like this former utility closet.
Yeah.
I was so grateful, man. I was so grateful. I was in my head. I was thinking, I am 21 years old. They have no idea who they just let into their building. I didn't even tell them. I didn't even tell them my age. I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like it's kind of like imposter syndrome.
Right.
And so I was just like working away, trying to keep my head low, but my work ethic high. And they saw it. They saw that I was, a hard worker and willing to learn. And so I, worked my way up there, did my thing, eventually started working on set. I got, through promotions and stuff.
Yeah.
Eventually started working on set with some of my favorite actors and filmmakers, and seeing just like, Hollywood, like being at that point where it's like, oh wow, okay, this is Hollywood. This is it, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool, but in my head, I was thinking, this isn't really me, not meaning that it's not something I like to do or I want to do, but it's not mine. It's not me.
Yeah.
It's for a studio, and they're making, a lot of money, and they're paying me a salary, and I'd rather be the other way around.
Right.
I'd rather make my own films and having my own team. So, but I loved the people there. Seriously, I was just thinking about it this morning. I hear about people working at other studios, other firms, other offices, other agencies, and they're like, man, it's cutthroat and these people are horrible. But damn, WB had some heart, man. I didn't realize it then how good the culture was and the people were. Everyone there was just like it was like high talent, high work ethic, high professionalism. Like, we got to get the job done. But what they had that other companies, I'm realizing now, don't have, is they have a heart. Like the biggest exec, the most important person in the room will talk about feeding their daughter that morning, or what Halloween was like with their kids, or how they're scared about some upcoming, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, you'd sit down with these people and you'd have a real conversation about the heart, and not realizing that right after they're about to meet with the biggest director in Hollywood. So
Right.
it was an awesome experience, but it was time for me to go. And I was able to leave because I had enough contacts with production companies and agencies by that time, where I was like doing side hustles, working when I could, outside of my 9 to 5, that I was like, okay, I think I might be able to work for other companies and stay afloat. And literally, like, as soon as I left WB, as soon as I was about to start working for this production company, they fired me.
Wait, what?
Yeah, well, I had done stuff for them before, and then they approached me with different ideas. They're like, "Well, do you have any ideas that you want to execute with us?" I sent them 3 ideas, and they loved them all. They're like, "Oh, this is awesome. We want to go with this. Are you happy one?" And I was like, "Okay, let's do the Are You Happy thing." And literally, like, the day before, the flight was booked, host was booked. We had an influencer to host it. We had a whole crew. We had a budget. Literally the night before I'm going to bed to wake up the next morning to get on my plane, I get a call from the company, and they're like, hey, sorry to say, but we're not moving forward with this project anymore. And, we're not going to, they didn't really say we're not going to work with you anymore, but I mean, suffice to say, they haven't called me since.
Right.
But we're not going to move forward with this project anymore. We don't believe in it. We don't think it would work online, and we don't think it'd be successful, whatever. So they were like, we're going to give you a kill fee. And a kill fee is basically an amount of money a company will give you to, like, stop doing what you're doing and just go away. And
wait, what?
Yeah, it's called kill fee. Because basically you've worked up until this point, So now stop working, and here's the money for the amount you've worked for, and now like it's over. It's dead.
Right.
So instead of using that money to, I don't know, save it, pocket it, buy something I don't need, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this thing myself. I'm going
Yeah.
to get in my car, buy a cheap camera. It was a $400 camera. Cheap in the sense that I was about to shoot a documentary that had a budget of like 50,000 on a camera that's $400.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep going until my money runs out. So from California to New York, I drove, and all along the way, I interviewed random strangers, people, and in my head, I'm thinking, no one's ever going to see this. This is really just for me. It's just a fun little road trip. Going, make it to New York, and then I go to India. Tell my
Yeah.
friends, me and my friends had already planned a trip to India because one of my college buddies is from India. So I was like, all right, let's go to India. And, while I was there, I got some cameras. And, again, it was just me, no crew, no budget. So I was giving the camera to my friend. I was like, shoot this, do that. You hold that camera. You hold that
Yeah.
light. And I got some good footage there. And, I won't get into the success of Are You Happy Just Yet? But that's basically my story up until like
Yeah.
a year ago.
Man, dude, that is just so amazing just to see how that transition happened. And there's so much to unpack that I want to continue to like dive in and dig in a little bit deeper, man. Because it's so funny because I'm headed into this multimedia, whatever, because currently right now I'm a theater major with an entrepreneurship minor. I was on the pre-med track, but then something about, being a doctor, I was like, I don't want to be a doctor anymore. I don't know where this idea, because I love kids. I love working. I thought I was going to be a pediatrician. I thought that was going to happen. Because one kind of, it felt like this, I was kind of like needed to play this expectation because you can't really say, oh yeah, I want to go into acting. Like, I'm a first generation American. Like my parents were from Zimbabwe. They came over here in the States. I was born right after that. My siblings were born in the West. Shout out to them. But I don't know, something about it, I was like, y'all, man, I've always been pulled with the theatrical art form, and then like about like filmmaking and looking at this and whatever. I've only taken a couple film classes, but I really love how that we have that similarity of like, okay, we like the movement, we like the acting, we love being able to go out there and search. But most importantly, what I think the reason why Are You Happy is so successful or so good is because you're really pressing into the human condition. You're pressing into the heart. You're pressing into the minds of people. And, at each and every day, and this with marketing, like, what are some ways that we can manipulate and utilize the mind and the heart and try to figure out how to pull that tug with people, man. And so I think from all that experience that you've had has played such a vital role in learning into that. But my question for you is when you got fired, bro, how did that make you feel? Like, how was it? Like, what was that moment you're like, dang, like, how was that? How did that make you feel? And how did you respond the very first days?
The immediate reaction was, sinking sensation. Oh God, what have I done? What have I done? And then 5 seconds later, I was like, they just need to see it. They just need to see it. They need to see the final product. They need, then they'll get it. They just don't understand. I need to show it to them. So it's a lot of it is believing in yourself, because that's the only reason I drove across the country, because I'm like, oh, well, let me take this kill feed. Let me make them a trailer. Let me shoot like a part of it, thinking we're not going to use this. This is just a test. This is just like a tease for what it could be when we have our nice big budget. So
Right.
let me drive across. It's an investment. So let me drive across the country, and I just got to show them, because I believed in myself and I believed in the show. So with that belief, I was able to just overcome it and be like, oh, this is going to be fine. This is going to be fine. And, you talked about being the first generation American. I am also first generation American. And I also did have those expectations of, doing something with my college degree, making something of myself. And I saw that, I could have gone into politics. I could have been successful in whatever avenue I chose, but
Right.
I I knew that success was the goal, or the expectation. And with that in mind, I was like, okay, that is going to happen. I know for a fact because I
Right.
know myself. And then now, what do I want to do? Do I want to make films? I want to, act or whatever. So I was like, all right, I'm going to make films, and I just made, I failed a lot, made a lot of mistakes. And I just knew in the back of my head, like, okay, success, expectation is success. And I just kept going and going and going.
Yeah, man. That's what we got to do. And I think that just that, I don't know, there's something different like about being first generation American. It's like, since we have that example of that hard work and that determination and that grit from our parents, like it's ingrained within our
Oh,
DNA that like it's going to happen no matter what.
yeah. And that this is a privilege to be in this country.
Right.
So you better take advantage of that privilege.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Anytime I got a B on my report card, my mom or dad would be like, "Do you realize how lucky you are to go to school in this country, and you're blowing it?" It's like, wow, you're right. I am blowing it. Okay.
Yeah, dude, that is so good because what was it? I was at the dinner table with my dad last week, and then he asked me, and then you know how you said you graduated university at in 3 years. He said, "So how come you haven't graduated in 3 years?" And I'm just like, Dad, it takes 4 years to It takes 4 years to graduate. He's like, "Who said that? You should be done. You should be done. You should be out of here." I'm like, "All right, man. I'm trying to get out. Please."
That's funny.
um Man, that is I love that relatability. I love how we're able to connect right off of that and the similarities in there. um Man, and so you had the chance and opportunity to travel all over the world. Pretty much like you've traveled significantly to places. Actually, before that, how old are you?
26.
You're 26. Okay. Wow, man, 26 years old, doing some great things.
I feel
So
old, to be honest. Like, if you were to ask my 18-year-old self what I'd be doing at 26, I'm like, oh, already, running his own production company and Oscars here and movies there. And so, I had high expectations for myself, and everyone
right.
has expectations, but the timeline's a little off, which is fine.
Right, man. Right, bro. That's so funny because you already kind of answered well, low key kind of answered like one of my big like my these are like my ending legacy questions. Like, what are like three things that you would tell to your 18-year-old self or like 19-year-old self? But you're gonna get into that when we
Yeah,
get there towards the end
for
of the
sure.
pod. Man, but that see, like you had a chance and an opportunity to be able to dive into the Hollywood entertainment scene. And um what were some of the things, what are like some of like what are two things that the fantasy that how most people grow up with, like, hey, Hollywood lights, this, that, and the third. When you came to LA, what were like some of the things that that what was on TV was not true? And how was that walking through that?
Yeah, one of the first things that hit me was like the Hollywood you see on TV is like 2 blocks of LA, and
Yeah.
everything else is like rough neighborhoods, downtown, overpriced restaurant. Everything else is not. It's like kind of gray and weird. There are definitely some awesome pockets of LA. I'm very grateful for my time in LA. But yeah, that was one of the first things that hit me. That, oh, it's like what I saw on Entourage, or these Hollywood shows. It was just 2 blocks, and it's super expensive to live there. So where am I going to live? Oh, it's like the hood in North Hollywood, which is fine.
Right.
Whatever. Um, and the other thing that hit me was that, like, no matter where you are, the situation is the same. You're still going to have to work hard. You're still going to have to make connections. It kind of hit me a couple months into LA that, oh, wow, I could have actually just like stayed home and
Mm.
and done, done exactly what I'm doing there at home. But well, I take that back. To be honest, that was a later realization I had.
Right.
Um, And looking back now, I know I had to go through those things. I had to work at WB. I had to pick up dog poop as a PA. I had to make my own movies in LA, trying to like shoot stuff with no permit. Like I had to do all those things, you know, to learn what Hollywood is, and to learn that, you know, it's not what I want, or it is what I want.
Yeah, man. That because most people don't realize that it's tough. Like the film and entertainment industry, and especially I don't think you think this, but I would consider you as an entrepreneur because you just had that mindset of like making stuff happen. You just have that idea, like ideation, and that drive to like, hey, I'm gonna make it happen, any means necessary. But people got to realize that this is pretty tough. It's
Yeah.
not easy.
Nothing good is easy. But like, for any like advice for people who are in my shoes, or who are thinking about majoring in film, majoring in the arts, moving to LA, my biggest thing is bloom where you're planted.
Right.
Don't feel like you have to go to the big city to make it. Especially now, you want to stay away from the big metropolitan areas like LA, New York, Chicago. Like, you want to stay away from those big cities, because they're like the epicenter of everything that's wrong with politics, society, culture. It's pretty bad out there.
Right.
And that, and also if you want to act, if you want to make movies, make movies. You don't have to go get permission. You don't have to go to LA for opportunity. You have to like create your own opportunity. Now more than ever, with TikTok and YouTube and Instagram, it's like the model of being, the hit actor in a movie is slowly dying. I think there is no more Leonardo DiCaprio. There is no more Tom Cruise. They're the last of their kind. What we have now is everybody excuse me, everybody has their own Leonardo DiCaprio. There are 1,000 Leonardo DiCaprios now, each with a following of 10 million. So you got to create your own audience, your own movie, your own show, and build your own community. And if it's fame you're looking for, if it's exposure you're looking for, if it's creativity you're looking for, all those things will be met when you create your own stuff. And what's good is the audience will be people that like Tanaka. It won't be like, oh, like, Avatar made $1 billion this week, but we can't name the main actor of the movie, and we still can't.
Yeah. Sam Washington. I know him, but you.
There you go.
Oh, wait. No, Sam Worthington. My bad. Sorry, Sam.
The highest grossing movie I think of all time, and it's like we don't remember his name. But if you create your own thing, your own audience, not only will they remember your name, but everywhere they go, they're like, you haven't seen Tanaka's YouTube show?
Or you haven't seen, like, athletes, are you happy?
Yeah.
See, and I think you're absolutely so right, exactly, because, I say it like this. I was talking to, and this is a really great segue into some of the questions about I wanted to ask you about, like, the idea of social media and how powerful it is, right? Because in my opinion, like, the very first social media influencer, like, for real, the person like that was like ahead of their time, Paris Hilton, right? And then now Paris Hilton kind of broke that door down, and then it's like, with this little device, you are a celebrity. Like, the way that we act, the way that we try to portray our lives or whatever, we are celebrities because we legitimately have followings of people. Some people that we don't know, but the majority of the followers are people that we don't know. Like, we don't know them. And then, but the basis of it is like, hey, each and every great idea or great successful, and like this is now like me going into like Ray Dalio and principles is on the basis of community, because you need to be able to have a community that's, one, of course, going to fund it, but most importantly, is going to help drive it and actually share it. And then when you create that ecosystem, then that's all you need. There's no more barriers to entry. Like, you have to go over here. You have to be able to, work as a PA and try to work your way up. When honestly, if you are doing, and see, the thing is, I think the determination factor of that is, most people are so caught up in trying to be like somebody else. That's what caps them. And then without them being their authentic self, and to be able to have that community that is truly flourishing and that's going to help you do stuff like what you're doing. I mean, shoot, I guess stuff that I'm doing too. Because I mean, like, shoot, I look at Oprah, I'm like, oh man, I want to have a talk show one day. I mean, I'm good at talking. I like talking to people, whatever. Like, how am I able to do this? And I'm like, you know what? F it. We're just going to start.
Yeah.
We're just going to start. And now,
talk show.
Yeah. Man.
And it's like, you know, there are still people out there today. They're like, oh, I want to be the next Jimmy Fallon. I want to be the next David Letterman. It's like they're the last of their kind, in my opinion.
Right.
I mean, look at Jimmy Fallon. Right? You put on Jimmy Fallon right now. If you have, I know his numbers are low, but he just looks like he doesn't want to be there. It looks like they're like forcing him on stage. And David Letterman, what's that other guy?
James Corden.
What's the Comedy Central guy? The Daily Show.
Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, Trevor Noah.
Trevor Noah too. He's like in his bedroom interviewing people, and he's got his hoodie on, and he looks like he just like this job. In my opinion, I might be looking into it, but there's a lot. I mean, look, perfect example. Trevor Noah. There's no more studio. It's literally him with a hoodie on in his bedroom, but he's got a studio behind him. So it's like, what do you think is next? Do you think what's next is that studios will create more in-studio shows with audiences that are told when to clap and told when to boo? Or is what's next Trevor Noah creating his own YouTube series with his own audience, interviewing his own people when he wants?
Right. Right. Man, and that's so crazy. And bro, of course, we're in this industry. How has 2020 has been a crazy year, man. 2020 has been a crazy year. How have you how has 2020 affected you, and how have you are able to pivot? What are some of the things and what are some of the tactics that you did in order to make sure that you're still being creative, but also keeping your sanity and your health?
Great question. For the beginning of like when quarantine first hit, I used that as an opportunity to work on my computer. Just boom, boom. Like, okay, I have all this free time now. Let me just put in some work. And I edited a bunch of episodes, started uploading, focused on marketing, editing, interacting, everything I could do through the computer. And that was because I was getting my reality through the TV and through the scroll. I was looking at what I was being told through the news, and it's like the whole world is shutting down. And then I got into working out because I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to my 9 to 5, and let me go on daily runs. And I see everybody's outside. Like, oh, this is great. And then more and more, I'm like, everybody is out and about interacting. And where I was, people weren't big on the mask, so it just felt like a normal day. And then I saw this. I saw a complete difference in the reality told to me on the TV or my phone, and the reality told to me in real life.
Right.
And I just turned off the TV and just stayed in base reality, and that has helped me really, cope. And like you asked, like how I've gone through it. That was a big thing. There was so much stuff besides COVID that was going on, around the world. And at a certain point, I'll admit it, my shoulders are too weak to bear the world. Right. I'll admit it. I'm not your guy. I'm not your leader. I'm not your politician. I'm not your mayor. That's not me. I can't because I've got my own thing going on. And so do you. Like, I could only bear the weight of my life within a 1 mile radius of my home. Right. So how's my family doing? Is mom okay? What's for dinner? Who's picking up the kids? Are the test results back? Is my sister going to be okay? My property. Literally somebody was murdered right down the street from my house. I have to pass by her vigil every single day. So even within my 1 mile radius, I'm like, geez, like this is crazy. And it's not like I live in murder capital of Connecticut. It's like I don't live in a necessarily bad area, but what do you know? Somebody was found stabbed to death in their car right outside my street. Literally, I have to pass it every single day. So it's like I just stopped listening to the news. I unfollowed every single account on my social media pages that talked about all the bad stuff that was going on in the world, and I focused on my family, my property, myself, and that in and of itself is enough to take up 24 hours of a day, in my opinion.
Right.
So yeah, that has really helped. And honestly, the world is a much more beautiful, peaceful, kind place than we would think. Now, I know people listening to this might be like, "You don't understand. You don't understand the plight of my people. You don't understand the famine that's happening in this country. You are you have created a bubble for yourself." And to that I say, if you were to add up all of the good things that happen throughout the world today, and then compare that to all of the bad things that happen throughout the world today, the good would far outweigh the bad.
Absolutely.
We are living in the greatest time to ever be alive, ever.
Right.
Now, every culture, every race has gone through their own plight, their own oppression, and I'm not going to talk about the plight of the Albanian people. And it's never affected how I, treat my niece.
Exactly.
That's my focus is my niece and my sister, and my mom, my dad, and my brother, and my home and my job. And then once all that's good, maybe I'll go to my neighborhood. Maybe I'll do like a neighborhood watch.
Right.
Yeah,
Man.
What do you think? Am I talking crazy here? Tell me.
Well, see, and the thing is, I don't want, like, the number one thing is I don't want to create like an ecosystem again, because so many people can get fixated into bubbles. But what you're talking about is the hedonic principles, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and in the hedonic principle. And the hedonic principle, like principle of life, is basically saying that what are the things that you can control? The number one thing that you can control first is your health, the way that you respond to things. Then after that, you move on to how can I take care of my family? Then after that, you can move on. All right, is everybody good? Then I can go move into the neighborhood. And then after that, it's like, okay, what can I do in the neighborhood? Then if you happen to have an influence of power or whatever, then you can start thinking about the city. Then after that, you can start thinking about the state. Then after that, you can start thinking about the country and then the world. Too many times, especially since we're in such a hyper connected world. I was talking with my dad about this, talk to like everybody I know about this, is again, we feel this weight. We feel this weight of the shoulder because we're being exposed to so much at the same time, and everything, our neurons, and it's stimulating our mind. And then after that, we start to go stir crazy because we want to, like, no, if you're a decent human being, you don't want anybody to hurt. Like, like, shoot, man, I don't want to see George Floyd dying. Damn, I don't want, the killers of Breonna Taylor. Like, shoot, like, damn, that sucks. But I know that. But at the same time, that's out of my control. What I can control is making sure that I'm keeping my family safe, educating my family on what's going on, being able to teach, like, hey, you know what? Let's learn about world history and let's sit down and talk and whatever. But that doesn't mean that we have to carry this. Me personally, I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, so it's like, all right, cool, Jesus got it. But then, but again, too, it's like we're not meant to carry so much. Like us as humans, we're literally fleshy beings.
Right.
Like, so I definitely agree with you that we're not supposed to do that. And you're right. It's funny because most people will think that's selfish, or like, most hardcore social justice warriors. It's like, how am I able to, like, protect and try to care for somebody when I'm not even caring for myself? That doesn't make sense.
Right. Exactly. And like, of course, all like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, all these names that we hear come from a platform that only focus on the bad things that are happening.
Absolutely.
It's like the the impact meter for these news is like they either want you at the best, they want you feeling apathetic and just okay, and at the absolute worst, they want you feeling like the entire world is falling apart. There's never a time where you put on any news platform or you look at any news account on your Instagram feed or TikTok feed, and they're like, great news. We have won. We have done this. We have overcome. No, the overcome news is like 5 seconds, if anything, and then the rest of the 55 seconds of their news minute is filled with like feel bad about this, feel horrible about this, and where's the name of the girl that was killed down my street?
Right.
She deserved to die, and but her name won't cause a nationwide divide. Her name won't cause upheaval across the nation. It's just how it is. So yeah, that's interesting. The hedonic needs. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, bro. Like, love psychology, love the mind, man. And again, within the mind too, you do have a platform on social media. What is your relationship with that? How do you relate? How are you able to navigate through this social media? Like, what are some of the pressures that you feel that you need to continue to uphold? Like, have you ever felt yourself get so sucked in to the point that you disconnect with base reality? Yeah.
Wow, well that's a big question.
I told you we're gonna talk. We're gonna chop it up.
Your mic was having some weird feedback, but I think it's okay now. So the first part of your question is like, what is my relationship with the show? And then the other question is like, do I ever feel like I'm losing touch with reality? So thankfully the show is like the show about happiness, and it's helped people get through their personal issues of 2020. It's I know for a fact it's helped people find a reason to live. It's helped people overcome depression. Just seeing other people talk about happiness or talk about hearing people talk about their struggle with happiness makes people believe or lets people believe that they don't have to stay unhappy. So that's been amazing. It was never my intention, and I think that's why it happened. Because there was no agenda, there was no motive. It's just God's work. I'm not behind any of that. As you know, as I said earlier, I didn't even expect anybody to see it. This is just a test run, and losing touch with reality for sure. Oftentimes, things get so crazy in 2020 that I'm like, is this real? Like, is this actually real? Or am I the subject of a reality television show?
Black Mirror.
Yeah, Black Mirror, Truman Show. And, in order for buildings to get built and planes to fly, we all have to agree this is real. And, this is how math works and this is how engineering works. Like, I get it. We have to agree to this pragmatic truth. But sometimes it's fun, or sometimes I can't help but think like, what if this isn't real? And just that question, kind of like Inception, that question gets bigger and bigger and bigger over time. And it messes with me sometimes, to be honest, where I'm like, this got too weird too fast. And it feels like I'm the only one. It's like at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, like, either I'm crazy or everyone else is crazy. It has to be one of them. So yeah, definitely, I feel like I'm losing touch with reality sometimes, but it's fun. I try to make it fun.
Yeah, man, and you're so right, man. Because when I think about it, I'm like, I was listening to, you listen to Elon Musk, and I watched, I used to watch Vsauce on YouTube. I used to watch a bunch of stuff like ASAP Science and all that. And Elon's like, yeah, we live in a simulation. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, I just imagine, like, wait, okay, there's a possibility aliens might be real. Two, what if everything that we're doing, you know how like I was just like it was just such a crazy moment, like a deja
Right.
vu, like really thinking too hard. And I'm like, I was with my friend Sophia one day, and she loves to play The Sims. And imagine like, yeah, The Sims, like, why are you playing a game
Right.
where you're controlling somebody to do the things that you can do in real life?
Right.
And then after that, I was like, wait, what if I'm being controlled by an alien sim, like an alien, and we're the Sims? What
Well,
is
it's
going
like,
on?
the science community will talk about the simulation theory, but they'll be like, "Oh, but God, no, 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 that can't be real." It's like, yeah, we are living in a simulation. It's God's simulation, and He is the player. Yes, we are. Yeah, we are living in a simulation. It's been figured out for 3,000 years. There's a book on it. It's like enough with this like God isn't real, but if you think about it, the odds are that a simulation has occurred. It's so ridiculous. It's so upside down. It's like I become less and less a believer of the scientific community, um, and yeah, the whole Elon Musk thing, yeah, he has a point. It's like if you were to look at the odds of it, the odds are that this is a Sims game, and we're just being played by somebody. And it could, both things could be true. It could be that God is real, gods are real, and this is a simulation, and there are interdimensional beings, uh, and the Earth is flat, and the Earth is round, and and there's like dimension, there's like other worlds within this world, or there are other beings, and all of that could be true.
Right,
I think the answer is like that they're all true, and
right.
like as soon as you're like, but no, this isn't a simulation, it's God's simulation. The Earth isn't round, it's flat, it's obvious. It's like I think the answer is that they're all true. I think when we all die, we're gonna be like, oh, okay,
I
it's
see you
all
guys.
true. It all makes sense.
Oh man, this is hilarious, man.
Yeah,
This is so
really.
fun.
Yeah,
Man, man, man. Ah, man. But I want to bring it back a little bit, us going on with our little soapbox.
yeah,
Again, like, the reason why I started this pod was because it was all about diversity and inclusion and equity and whatnot. And you actually, so many times, and again, we're going to go back to the media bit, is the media tries to paint a different picture of what the world is, but you have actually gone outside and
yes.
seen what the world has looked like from different various points of views. What was some of the impact that you had being able to travel to like Mexico, being able to travel to India, or being able to travel within the United States? And my second question is, why do you think it's important for us to be able to go outside of that step and have a more global perspective in our life?
I think, great question, by the way. I think that when you don't go outside, don't interact with your community, you find your reality through the phone, through the TV. And that I don't care who you are, I don't care what you watch, but like as someone who's worked in the industry for 10 years now, don't believe anything you see within these four walls. It's all it's whether if it's true, it's manipulated to keep you watching for ad revenue.
Right.
Um, and most times it's not true. Um, so the importance of like actually stepping out and interacting with the world is I got to see that things aren't as bad as it might be conveyed to be on TV. Um, I got to see like the heart of humanity. I'm in a stranger's home right now.
Mm-hmm.
I slept in his futon. I've never met him before in my life. I could have. I mean, the thought did go through my head where I'm like, this guy could kill me.
Right, right, bro. You know what you're doing? Like you kind of like remind me of like David Cho. David Cho like just goes and with him and his artist and whatever in his Vice show, like he just went and traveled and he's like, this person can kill me right now, but
Right, right. And David Cho is like a camera guy. Like this is just me. So it's a lot of trust, and time again, I've been pleasantly surprised by the kindness of people. Um, the heart that we all share, that race doesn't divide us, culture doesn't divide us. What divides us is ideology, and as soon as
Mhm.
you turn off that feed, that ideology, then it's like, oh, we're all in this together. And I know that sounds cliche, but we're all going through the same things. We're all nervous, afraid of the future, hoping things go right, hoping the results are negative. We're all hoping we don't get in a car accident while we drive. We're all hoping people like us. I'm sure he's hoping I like him as much as I hope he likes me, or maybe he's in his bed like thinking like, is he gonna kill me? So we're all going through the same things, and going out there with this show has helped me realize that. And the responsibility I feel is not to talk about the bad parts of the world or the bad things that are happening to me, but to focus on the good and to remind people that, hey, like it's not what you see. Trust me, like try it. Go out there. You'll realize that the world is a beautiful place. The happiest people haven't always had the happiest lives. And that's my responsibility, to show the opposite of what we've been fed by mainstream media.
Yeah, man, that's amazing. And now, everybody, you ask everybody, are they happy? My question for you is, man, are you happy? And my follow-up question for that is, what does happiness mean for you?
That's a good question. I am happy. Right now I am pretty happy. I love traveling. I love meeting new people. The source of my happiness is my family. And traveling doesn't allow me to really be with them.
Right.
So I do wish I was with my sister right now. I wish I was with my parents. That would make me happier. But this is also another part of my happiness. I kind of have to like do this I'm going to be traveling for 10 days before going back to them. So it's just a part of it. And what is happiness to me? Happiness is being healthy. I was going to say being alive, and I used to say happiness is just being alive. But there are worse situations than being dead.
Right.
There are times where you'd rather be dead. So happiness for me is the health of my family, and secondarily my health. Because like when I have a healthy family, I have a happy family. And if everyone is good, my dad is able to get up on his feet. He's been touching his back a lot lately. He's like, but as long as he's healthy, my mom's healthy, as long as we can all get up out of bed, have our feet touch the floor, go downstairs for breakfast, I'm happy, man. There's nothing that will be too bad that will get in the way of that. But also when things go wrong, which we all die, inevitably it will happen. Then I will be very unhappy.
Yeah. And that's good. That's such a good thing that you said about talking about the health and talking about the health for your well-being for your family, because on this show I've had chances to talk to ex-convicts, millionaires, like so many different types of people. And most people think, okay, is money going to bring me happiness? So once I become a millionaire, whatever, like they think that that's going to be the thing that makes them happy. And I asked him, like, so how did you feel when you made that $1 million? He's like, well, honestly, it didn't really change my situation. Like, it only meant like I could do more stuff, but and it was so funny. I mean, it's not profound. It's simple, but life is way more simple than we ought to give it. It's just sometimes we add, like, we're so influenced by so many external things. That's what causes that disarray, in my opinion.
100%.
And that's kind of like a stoic philosophy. But whenever I think about it, it's like one of them people, millionaires, he said, like, yeah, man. And even Naval Ravikant, he said happiness is determined by, do you have a fit body? Are you fit? Do you have a calm mind? And then do you have a house full of love? Those are those three major things. Everything else will be increased from that because
I love that.
your body is healthy, because you're able to move around, you're able to do things. Your mind is calm and chill, and you're not necessarily worried about what's going to happen, what's the next thing that's going to happen, or you're not filled with anxious thoughts. And then again, like I think that love is one of the things that heals, because you can make 86K a year, but if you love your job, if you love your career, you love the life that you wanted, like you've already won. And
Yeah.
again, it's all within. Talking to my auntie about it yesterday, it's all within. Not like everything's within us. It's just whether or not we try to take it out and do something about it. I don't know.
That's so true. I've had experiences that made me realize, like, oh, like every problem that I need to solve, every bad feeling I've had, it all can be controlled from within. It all comes from within. Like, I don't need any external force. I don't need a pill to speak my mind. I don't need, it's like I don't need any external force to heal. It all comes from within. Maybe you have to have that experience to make that realization.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Well, these are the last couple questions. I know I want to be very careful of your time. You at your new friend's house.
Yeah.
So these are now my big legacy wisdom questions. Is my first question for you is, what are 3 things that you would tell your 20-year-old self?
20-year-old self, just moved to LA. I would say, uh, just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep doing what you're doing. Then I'd say,
That's my sister.
yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Keep believing in yourself, and don't drink. Yeah, not that I was a drinker, but too many rough nights. I'm like, God, why did I do that? It didn't add anything. It didn't add anything to my life. So
That's real. That's real. 2 is there anything in your life that you would change?
I would say I love you more. I would hug more. Um, I would tell people how I feel more. Yeah, there's career things and film, all that stuff. I could say I wish I did that. I wish I did that, but it all worked out the way it was supposed to. What I would really want to change is, say I like the things I just said. Say I love you more, care more.
Yeah, that's good. And my last question for you, brother, is what do you want your legacy to be?
Wow.
I know the hard hitters.
I want to have. I want to be a good father. I want to have a good, healthy family. I want my kids to think of me and say, all right, he set me up for success. He didn't mess me up. He didn't. He gave me a good life. And that's it, really. If you were to ask me this question when I was 20, I want to be the greatest director of all time. I want Stanley Kubrick to blush, to shudder in shame when he looks at me. And that's all. That's all egotistical, and it's gonna happen anyway.
Gotta have the confidence.
But what more and more as I'm getting older, I just want a simpler life. I just want to be okay. That's all I really pray for. It's all I really want. And as long as I'm okay, living in like a nice, healthy life, small house, a couple goats, a couple chickens, farm, my wife, my kids, my family. Like that's enough, man. To be honest, everything on top of that will just be gravy, and there will be a
Yeah.
lot of gravy in my life. Let me tell you.
Yeah, man. That is so good. That's so true. Yeah, man, like you had the opportunity to walk amongst like to work for some of the biggest celebrities and all that. Like, do you ever think that you would want that life?
Man, to be real, they didn't look like they wanted that life. I look at them and I'm like, oh man. Sometimes there are people who love it, enjoy
Right.
it. Like Vince Vaughn, like these people like love it. And that's cool. Like if you're having fun and like when people walk up to you in the street, you're like, yeah, let's take a picture, let's do it. And it's like that's cool, that's fun, but I feel like most people it gets old really quick, really fast.
Yeah.
And they're like in a trap. They've like trapped themselves and they can't get out. So I think that life will come to me whether I want it or not. Um, so I've like I'm prepared for it, but it's not something I'm like dying for.
Mm,
It used to be for sure. I used to be on that 14 years old New York City subway all alone, going to my audition, thinking one day I'm gonna, all these people on the train are gonna know me. Yeah, and it's like I still respect that kid. I respect him, and
yeah.
I get what he was thinking. And I also fight for him sometimes too, to make him happy. Um, but it's just not a big priority anymore.
Yeah. Man, I loved those answers, bro. This is the last segment of the show. Because me as a believer, I love words and I love showing people love. Death, like, there's power, there's life and death in the tongue. And I want to speak. This is a segment called the Speak Life segment where I just speak over you. Um, Man, Atdhe, I just want to say, first and foremost, I am inspired by your work. I'm grateful for the wholesome content, and I'm super happy. I'm super excited that you have the platform that you have because you are asking people the old age question: Are they happy? And you're allowing, especially our generation, to grow up and to be impacted by authentic and critical thinking, but most importantly, to be able to face themselves in the mirror in a way that's not damaging or harming, but opens up their mind. The way that you are dedicated to your craft, and just from this conversation, it was so easy to talk to you, bro. And I just want to say thank you for all the work that you're doing. Thank you for the person that you are and the person that you're ever becoming. And thank you for having the humility and the grace to continue to do this. I want to let you know that I'm super proud by you, super proud of you. I'm inspired by you and moved by all that you've done. And I'm wishing you nothing but love, success, and power, man. It's nothing but love. Love you, bro. And I'm just so glad. I'm so glad. I'm so grateful that you're over here, man. And hope those flowers were able to help you keep you going because it means a lot. Thank you.
Wow, bro. Love you too. Thank you. Thank you for creating this platform. Thank you for inviting me to be on your show. I'm so happy I reached out to you because it's one of my favorite podcasts that I've done. Thank you for supporting the show. That really means a lot to me. Thank you for your kind words, man. Very, very humbling. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, yo. Where can the people find you at?
So right now, just look up "Are You Happy?" whether it be on Instagram or TikTok, and you'll see our page. Um, the show is completely crowdfunded. So if you like what I've been talking about and you want to support the show, go to happypeople.me/donation. That would mean a lot to me. Other than that, much love, appreciation. You guys listen to this. I might run into you, on the street. So think about your answer. Are you happy, and why? And we'll talk about it. Tanaka, don't you think you're going off scot-free? I gotta ask you, are you happy?
Man, I'm so happy, man. I'm so happy. I'm joyful because I believe that happy is happenings. Um, but man, they're like, see, like just even like part of my testimony, like my mom and my dad, there was one point of time where um I had an ear infection when I was like younger, when I was 2. And and so it made me go mute, and maybe I was like deaf, so I had to get surgery. And there was a point in time my mom told me I started talking when I was 9 years old, but then I stopped and I wasn't able to talk until I was 4. Yeah, so
Wait, you started talking at 9, then
no, 9 months old.
oh
And then
wow.
after that, but then so I started talking early, but because of this ear infection, you know, I wasn't able to talk. And then after that, I had to get surgery and I wasn't able to talk until I was 4, speech therapy and whatever. Like my family had faith. My mom, we were talked about it when I like in August, like, how was that? Because just to think that there was a moment of time where I wasn't able to talk. I think this is like kind of like my gifting. And now I'm about to give a whole TED talk in February.
No way.
Yeah, bro. I always used to dream of giving a TED talk, man. Like, I remember watching it, but now I'm actually giving it. So, man, and there were some tough parts of my life, but it's so crazy, man. It's just such a blessing to be like, man. So I take every day. I'm super grateful. I'm super joyful to be alive, and I know that there are some situations that I should not have. Man, I honestly shouldn't be here, but
Mm,
the fact that I'm here, and I'm like, man, hopefully, I just want to whatever I do. I just want to make sure that I'm inspiring people any way possible. So I'm so happy.
wow, that's beautiful. Dude, thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. All right. Podcast out.